Yeah, I love the idea of reframing these terms, or even just getting rid of them in general, to be honest with you, for me. But I had a guy on about 6 or 7 months ago, and I had to cut this part out of the episode because there was a lot of background noise, but he was involved in tech and incredibly successful man, knows so much about tech, one of the biggest experts on it at the moment. But I asked him at what point did you become a success? And he had this fucking incredible answer. He goes, like, the only thing I ever wanted to do was get started in tech. So the second I applied for a job, I was successful. And I remember thinking about it like there's so many people who are like they need to have 1 million followers to be successful or 1 million in the bank, like you mentioned.
I
What point?
don't like the term success anyway because it's completely counterintuitive.
It's
Because
in the eye of the beholder a little too, isn't it?
we've linked success to a monetary gain. Like at the end of the day, you could be a farmer in the middle of nowhere, and you're doing the good for your family with what you know. That's a success. That has no monetary value. But yet the media, which is part of it, is a subsequent thing of the financial system, the political system, the corporate control, the media, all links to create this imaginary system and life that we live in. And that's starting to break down, right? So the redefining of what success is another thing, because if we established already that the Ferraris keeping up with the Joneses doesn't matter, and that's all evolved around money, and our entire concept of success evolves around money, what on earth are we doing? I
Yeah, I
mean,
agree.
think about it. Like, it's just backwards. The entire system is backwards. But until you put it into cognitive speaking in a way with the passion that I'm expressing it in, people don't go, yeah, oh, guess what? I've been fooled into thinking this whole system was, oh, yeah, this is just the way the world works. No, it's not. It's an artificially created thing which we created over the last 100 years to define that everything should be driven by money. Well, as we've established, it shouldn't be. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue this, like, people defy success. This guy's super successful. What's he done? Well, he ripped off a ton of people and made a ton of cash. But what's this woman's just a nurse and she just saved someone's life. Who's more successful? What defies success? I think the nurse, personally,
Same.
right? Because you're glorifying something to do with money. And the longer I've been in business, the longer I worked in financial services, the longer I've been around the world and see the way the world truly works, there is a massive, massive correlation between people with money and poor ethics,
Yeah.
poor morals. So we are glorifying, and I'm not saying that's everyone, right? Let me just put the asterisks,
Yeah.
right?
It's a
But there is a
percentage.
massive correlation between people with money and people doing the wrong thing, not the right thing. And that, therefore, we are glorifying a larger proportion of the population based on negative behaviors.
Yeah. I do see that a lot. We do glorify the wrong people. There's that trend that goes around quite a lot. Like, we made the right person famous or we made the wrong person famous. But I always love asking people this in like specific industries, like you're in business, because I feel like people who are like trying to get into an industry, first thing they look for is like almost like role models or like mentors, people they could look at all their history of stuff and see what it is they can get a good ballpark. So in your opinion, because especially in business, like what I mentioned before, there's a lot of influencers claiming to start up businesses, but they really just put cash up and they're doing the marketing. So in your opinion, someone who's trying to get into business or trying to start a business that will live on for decades, who would you tell them to go and have a look at as role models? Got you thinking now, haven't I?
I think the existing system unfortunately makes it very difficult to truly find good role models
Fair enough.
inside. If you evolve making lots of cash in the existing system, from what I've found, even if people start with great intentions, even if people start with good ideas, start as truly good people with great morals and ethics, the entire system is so corrupted that at some point, someone or some other or some party or some corporation will enter the room of that person's business or life and corrupt their whole thought process of what they're doing. So therefore, the argument is under the current existing financial system, corporate system, it's very difficult to find a true person that has the right morals to look up to. Now, then the argument is, what do people actually look up to? And society looks up to money, because society, particularly with the younger, youthful generation, society looks up to, I want the Lamborghini, I want the Ferrari, I want this, I want that. So then you're asking me, who in society should people look up to if you want these things? So if you want to look up to someone that makes loads of money because you're motivated by fast cars, fast women, and proving yourself to others, then probably look up to people that are making loads of money, like in some capacity. Maybe that's the way. I don't know. But maybe your goals as a person are more like, well, actually, I want to do something that's going to be good for my family or good for humanity. And then you look at different role models, right? So the problem is we've created a system which is so driven by financial gain, and the system, once you're in it, even the people with the greatest moral paths are unfortunately corrupted. So it makes it very difficult to find someone that's truly at the forefront of it, because the system is designed to ensure that anyone with the best intentions is somehow corrupted in some point either way. That's why we need to look at a world which is decentralized away from the existing system.
Yeah,
so sorry, there isn't really an answer, right? Because there isn't one. That's the reality. There isn't one. There isn't someone to look up to, right? I mean, you can take pieces of individuals, their skill sets, what they're good at, who they are, but someone, because of the existing system that we've created, that's the people, everyone that we participated in, it's very difficult to find anyone that would be of complete substance to get what someone of a young age wants to get out of the world, but truly get what they want to get out of the world, which is not to what they initially think they want when they're in their 20s.
Yeah. Do you not think, though, that we could kind of pick certain people and go back to almost their origin story? Like, I remember seeing interviews with Ben Francis, the boy that created Gymshark, and it was maybe about 7, 8 years ago. He was doing interviews talking about, and he would go through the exact details of how he was working at Domino's delivering pizzas and what he would do when he came back, what he would do in his breaks to do new designs, or he'd reach out to athletes, or he'd walk into his house and his whole house would be filled with packages. Like, do you think there's people that we could look at that are successful now, but we could almost filter the search results from last to newest, and maybe then learn a little bit about what it takes to get to that point?
Yeah, it would be really interesting to do that, actually. Like, Ben Francis is a great example, right? Because it's like a man with motivation at a young age, right? And become amazingly successful. Okay, great. Let's just take that as a snapshot of what he did at that period in his life. And then let's take snapshots of other people in periods of time where perhaps they said no to things, which actually, by saying no to things, didn't gain them financially at a certain point in time, which means, inverted commas, they didn't become as successful, right? Like, saying no to something is far more powerful than saying yes to something. But because we've glorified the results of what saying yes to something could be, then suddenly you're successful. Right? I'm a billionaire. Really? Well, you said yes to get to be a billionaire. You said yes to some people that didn't have the best intentions, because they're part of a system which seriously doesn't have the best intentions of people, does it? So now, no matter in what capacity you are, whether you have the best intentions, whether you are a superly good person, you're in bed with other people that are not.